أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن في خلق السماوات والأرض واختلاف الليل والنهار لآيات لأولي الألباب. Translation. In the creation of heaven and earth and in the alternation of night and day are indeed signs for people of understanding. The two words we should underline here, signs, people of understanding. The idea that universe is complex and designed and calls for a designer is an old idea, but it is an honorable idea. And Holy Quran certainly points fingers to this idea. The story of Watchmaker, which is part of my topic, certainly points to the same idea. This story was famously told for the first time in year 1802 by William Paley, a Christian theologian. And I paraphrase, he imagined that he was walking on the beach and he imagined he happened to stumble upon a piece of rock. And he asked himself a question. How long the rock's been there? Forever. The answer could be anything. Then he imagined, what if he saw a watch on the beach in place of rock? The same answer will not apply. Watch is complex, watch is designed, and calls for a creator or a designer. Universe is far more complex, so certainly universe could not come into being without a creator. Intelligent design theory is about this concept. Universe is complex, so it must have a designer. The God of Holy Quran invites believers to ponder upon the universe and its creation and complexity at various places in the Holy Quran. But again, signs point to a destination, but science itself is not the destination. In my opinion, the first limitation of intelligent design people is that they have taken the sign and made this their ultimate destination. The founder of Ahmadiyya movement in Islam, Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad Sahib, whom I believe to be Messiah and Mahdi, was blessed with extraordinary knowledge of Holy Quran, and he explained these things elaborately. He wrote abundantly about it. He was an expert. He was master on this subject, and he wrote, first line. He wrote, as the operation of reason is defective, most of my, actually all of my slides are quotations of Prophet Messiah alayhi salam. Since the original writing is in Urdu and originality has more power, so I have brought the Urdu for those of you who can't read Urdu. I'm not going to read it because of time constraints. And the translation is from Essence of Islam. It's not my own. Prophet Messiah ﷺ writes, as the operation of reason is defective, incomplete, and doubtful, and philosopher cannot recognize God purely through reason. So even though the verse of Holy Quran invites us to ponder, that alone is not enough. Something more is required. Most people who try to determine the existence of God Almighty purely through reason, in the end, become atheists. A danger is involved depending upon reason alone. The mistake done by the ID design is that they've taken this science and this is their ultimate goal, destination, and that is a great limitation in my opinion. What is intelligent design movement? Some of us might not know. So a quick 2-minute introduction. Francis Collin, who is famous for writing a very nice book called Language of God, in his book he mentions that the intelligent design movement rests upon 3 propositions. Number 1, evolution promotes atheistic views and must be resisted. No doubt about that. Number 2, evolution is flawed. We might have difference here. It cannot account for complexity of nature. Certainly it can. Number 3, evolution cannot explain irreducible complexity. Very difficult word. And most of the writers who write about intelligent design depend upon very difficult mathematical formulas and difficult words. The intelligent design proponents see God in complexities alone. For example, they have no problem about microevolution. That means evolution within a species changing to the same species. But they cannot accept macroevolution. That means one species evolving into another. I assure you that God of Quran is not God of gaps. This concept that we need God only at complexity is called God of gaps. And our God, God of Quran, is not God of gaps. The intelligent design is about a set of ideas and has a political agenda. And what is that? To bring the teaching of creationism into school curriculum. As we know, the Establishment Clause of First Amendment prohibits the government from endorsing any particular religious beliefs, and creationism is not by law part of school curriculum. So this was a clever idea. Can we make creationism science somehow? So intelligent design, in fact, is creationism in disguise, as it was decided by Judge Jones in the famous trial in Dover, Pennsylvania. Judge Jones, in year 2002, declared that intelligent design is an unconstitutional. It is unconstitutional for Pennsylvania school district to present intelligent design as an alternative to evolution in high school biology courses because it is a religious viewpoint that advances a particular version of Christianity, meaning that ID is really creationism in disguise. And then they claim that intelligent design is science. That is, again, a big limitation. Do they want to prove God in lab by double-blind studies and experimentation? Impossible task. Promised Messiah, alayhi salam, again, an expert on this topic, he writes, his main purpose of coming to this world was to prove the existence of God Almighty. And he then, next, he said the being of God is transcendental and beyond and is most secret and cannot be discovered by power of human reason alone. No argument can prove it conclusively, inasmuch as reason can travel only so far that contemplating the universe, it feels the need for a creator, but the feeling of a need is one thing, and it is quite another to arrive at the certainty that God, whose need has been felt, does in fact exist. The power of reason is not enough for us to recognize God. Then what is? Prophet Messiah alayhi salam must have given us the right path to seeing our God. Next. Prophet Messiah alayhi salam writes that God manifests himself through his powers and his signs. And we can find him only through him. Here is the take-home message. This is the only way to find God, through him. He manifests himself always to the righteous and shows them his powers. All doors that lead to him are closed except the door which has been opened by Holy Quran. Prophet Messiah alayhi salam further says, next, God appears weak to a person whose faith is weak. This is the very powerful quote. God appears weak to a person whose faith is weak, but to who appears before God with strong faith, he shows that for his help, he is strong. Thus, in response to changes in man, there are changes in divine attributes. For him who is without any strength in his faith, he is as if he is dead. Auzubillah. So the faith of an atheist is equal to 0. The visibility of God Almighty to him is equal to 0. Mathematical formula. So one must have faith. The Holy Quran is more than, the God of Holy Quran is a lot more than merely a watchmaker. Everything, each and every particle in the universe is in his control. Nothing moves unless he orders it to allows it to happen. Next. We have all seen a bird fly in the air. Did we ever think, what keeps the bird in the air? The laws of nature, the laws of physics, aerodynamics, wings flapping. Is that what creates the lift under the wings? What keeps the bird up in the air? Next. Holy Quran. Do they not see the bird held under the subjection of vault of heaven? None keeps them back save Allah. Verily, in that are signs for people who believe. So this is where as Dr. Zia Shah was talking about laws of nature, the laws of nature is the way of Allah. And next, the Prophet Messiah ﷺ says, we do not deny that God Almighty always operates in accordance with His eternal attributes. The effects of these attributes are called ways of Allah or laws of nature. The laws of nature, it's true, we don't see the hand of God Almighty all the time, but the laws of nature are in operation, and that's our belief. And angels have roles to play. They have the last link in this cause and effect mechanism. I had no time to go further, so I'll end my speech here. In essence, the God of Quran is a lot more than just merely being a watchmaker. We can find God Almighty only through Him, by being righteous and by following the ways of Holy Quran. Thank you very much.